See, today we will be discussing about the Lokpal and Lokayukta Bill 2013. I think most of you are aware that the Union Parliament in December 2013 has passed the historic Lokpal and Lokayukta Bill 2013. See, the first Administrative Reforms Commission chaired by the first Administrative Reforms Commission, who is the chairman of the first ARC, Morarji Desai. So the first Administrative Reforms Commission chaired by Morarji Desai, in its interim report in 1966, it has recommended for the setting up the institution of Lokpal. So we are in 2013. So from 66, 76, 86, 96, 2006. So it took almost how many years?
45 years around. 46 years.
So it took almost 46 years for the Union Parliament to pass this historic legislation. Though the first Administrative Reforms Commission under the chairmanship of Morarji Desai, it has recommended both Lokpal as well as Lokayukta. But Lokayuktas were set up at least in some of the states. As of now, you have got 17 states and union territories which have got the Lokayukta. The first Lokayukta was set up in the state of Maharashtra in 1972. But with respect to Lokpal, though the bill was introduced in the parliament for more than 8 times, but it could not be passed in the parliament because of the lack of political will of the political executive. In other words, we took almost 46 years to pass this historic legislation of the Lokpal. And even in December 2013, the bill was passed because of some reasons like the United Progressive Alliance government has lost the election in 4 states out of the 5 states where the elections were held recently. And apart from that, Anna Hazare has started the movement for the strong Lokpal again in the same month. And along with that one, the Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi has decimated the Indian National Congress. So to get back the confidence of the people on the UPA government, the government was forced to come up with this important bill. So this is the context of the background which compelled the UPA government to pass this historic legislations. Otherwise, there is a lot of pessimism on the part of many policy makers in this country that this bill may never be passed. But subsequently, it was passed. So if we consider the background of this Lokpal bill, this Lokpal bill was introduced in Lok Sabha on 4th August 2011. Subsequently, it was referred to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on August 8, 2011. So Abhishek Manu Singhvi was the chairperson of the Parliamentary Standing Committee, which looked into the details of the Lokpal and Lokayukta Bill 2013. It was also referred to Rajya Sabha Select Committee chaired by Satyavrat Chaturvedi. So based on the recommendations of Abhishek Manu Singhvi, that is the Parliamentary Standing Committee, and the Rajya Sabha Select Committee, that is Satyavrat Chaturvedi Committee, the present Lokpal and Lokayukta Bill 2013 was passed. Here, the nomenclature of the bill itself, the Lokpal and Lokayukta Bill 2013 itself is a misnomer, because on the recommendations of the Rajya Sabha Select Committee, that is Satyavrat Chaturvedi Committee, the provisions relating to the Lokpal, Lokayukta, they were struck down because there is a lot of resistance from the regional political parties and from the state governments with respect to passing Lokayukta bill by the Union Parliament itself under Article 253 of the Indian Constitution to implement any international agreement. What is the international agreement relating to corruption? UN Convention Against Corruption. It was signed by India in 2005. It was subsequently ratified by the Union Parliament in 2011. So to implement any international agreement, the Union Parliament has got the right, it is empowered to pass a legislation even with respect to a subject in the state list. So in other words, the Union Parliament is legitimately empowered to pass the legislation even on Lokayukta along with Lokpal. And according to Article 254 of the Indian Constitution, a law made by the Parliament, if there is a conflict or inconsistency between a law made by Parliament and a law made by the Legislative Assembly, the law made by Parliament will prevail, because As I told you, from 1972, Lokayuktas were set up in this country. So if Lokayukta comes into existence based on the provisions passed by an act of parliament, if it comes into conflict with the provisions of the Lokayuktas which are already existing, then the legislation passed by the parliament will prevail. But the state governments and the regional political parties, they are not in favor of the union parliament passing a legislation on the Lokayukta. So they clearly said that we are willing to support the government of India and the Lokpal, provided the provisions relating to the Lokayukta were struck down and they should be left to the discretion of the state governments to pass the Lokayukta bill in the respective legislative assembly. This is the condition under which the regional political parties are willing to support the government of India. And finally, the union government is compelled to strike down the provisions relating to the Lokayukta. So if you take the bill which was available in the website of PRS website, the provisions relating to Lokayukta all were struck down because that is not acceptable to the state governments or the regional political parties. In other words, as of now, the bill which was passed by the Union Parliament in December 2013 establishes only the institution of Lokpal at the union level to deal with the corruption of the employees relating to the union government. But with respect to Lokayukta, that is, to deal with the corruption at the state level, the Lokayuktas have to be set up by the state governments by passing the legislation in the legislative assembly. In other words, the present union legislation does not speak anything about the Lokayukta. It simply says that within 1 year, the respective state governments have to pass the Lokayukta bills in the respective legislative assemblies. So here, the goal of fighting corruption is only partially done because now we have the institution of Lokpal to deal with corruption of government of India. But with respect to Lokayukta, we don't have any other mechanism. We have to wait and see to what extent the state governments will come up with strong Lokayukta bills in the legislative assemblies. And the recent Chief Minister of Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal, he said that soon after getting elected as the Chief Minister, he will go and come up with a strong institution of Lokayukta in the state of Delhi. This may be done in Delhi, but where is the guarantee that strong Lokayukta bills will be passed in the concerned legislative assemblies? As we have seen, excepting for the state of Karnataka, in all the other states, the Lokayuktas were not effective. And because of the pressure of the civil society movements led by Anna Hazare, and because of the failure of the United Progressive Alliance government to perform better in the recent state elections, and the decimation of the Indian National Congress by the Aam Aadmi Party, these compelling reasons forced the government of India to come up with a Lokpal bill at the union level. But where is the guarantee that similar compelling reasons may be available at the state level? If there are no compelling reasons, I don't think that state governments will come up with strong Lokayukta bills in the state level. So here, let us be very frank that we have the mechanism to deal with corruption only at the level of government of India. But at the state level, we have to wait and see. The union bill says that within 1 year after the Lokpal comes into implementation, the state governments have to pass the concerned Lokayukta bills in the respective legislative assemblies. I have a lot of pessimism because if we go by the history of the functioning of the Lokayuktas, in most of the states, the Lokayuktas were deliberately not allowed to function effectively. They were made paper tigers. They were not tigers in reality on the ground. This may continue in course of time, at least at the state level. So this is the background with respect to the Lokpal and Lokayukta Bill 2013. So let's deal with the various chapters in the Lokpal and Lokayukta Bill 2013. So before we go into the details of the provisions of the Lokpal Bill, the bill defines competent authority. So what is competent authority with respect to whom, that we will consider in the beginning. So if there is a complaint against a Prime Minister, who is the competent authority with respect to Prime Minister? Lok Sabha. With respect to Prime Minister, with respect to complaint against Prime Minister, the competent authority will be Lok Sabha or the House of the People. If there is any complaint against the Union Minister, who is the competent authority? Prime Minister. If there is any complaint against members of Lok Sabha. Who is the competent authority? Speaker of Lok Sabha. If there is any complaint of corruption against the members of Rajya Sabha, who is the competent authority? Chairman of Rajya Sabha. If there is any complaint with respect to an officer, of any concerned department or ministry, who is the competent authority? The concerned ministry. With respect to Group A and Group B people. But with respect to Group C and Group D employees, who is the competent authority? The Central Vigilance Commission. So, because if any complaint is made against the category of the persons which I have told you, the competent authority shall refer that matter to the Lokpal. This is why I have dealt with the competent authority. Got the point? Then let us discuss about the composition of the Lokpal. See, the Lokpal, the institution of Lokpal will consist of one chairperson and a maximum of 8 members. The institution of Lokpal, which will be set up at the union level, will consist of one chairperson and maximum of 8 members. So, the information relating to the composition of the Lokpal and the qualifications to be appointed as a chairperson and members, this is important for even the prelims exam. Fine. So, who is eligible to be appointed as the chairperson? Chief Justice of India, a retired Chief Justice or the serving Chief Justice of India, he is eligible to be appointed as the chairperson of Lokpal. Along with that, a judge of Supreme Court, who is a retired one or serving judge, he is also eligible to be appointed as the chairperson. Along with these two categories, an eminent citizen, he is also eligible to be appointed as the chairperson of the Lokpal. In other words, maybe in 2014 prelims exam, if there is a question, who among the following is eligible to be appointed as the chairperson of the Lokpal? Chief Justice of India, serving or retired. Judge of Supreme Court, serving or retired, or eminent citizen. All these three categories, they are eligible to be appointed as the chairperson. Then, after dealing with the chairperson, let us discuss something about the members of Lokpal. As I told you, the total strength of the members of Lokpal will be 8. 4 will be judicial members and the remaining 4 will be non-judicial members. And out of these 8 people, 50%, that is at least 4 people, should give representation to the scheduled caste people, scheduled tribe people, minorities, women, and scheduled caste, other backward classes. Scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, other backward classes, minorities, and women. Out of the 8 members of the Lokpal, 4 will be judicial members, and the other 4 will be non-judicial members. Out of these 8 members, at least 50%, that is at least 4, shall give representation to SC, ST, OBC, minority, and women. Then, who is eligible to be appointed as the judicial member of Lokpal? Here, a judge of Supreme Court, retired or serving. Chief Justice of High Court, retired or serving. These two categories, they are alone eligible to be appointed as the judicial member of Lokpal. But here remember, a judge of High Court, he is not eligible to be appointed as the judicial member. Who is eligible? Judge of Supreme Court, serving or retired. Chief Justice of High Court, serving or retired. So this is the qualification to be appointed as the judicial member. Then who is eligible to be appointed as the non-judicial member? Persons who have got impeccable integrity and outstanding ability, having at least 25 years of experience relating to anti-corruption policy, vigilance, banking and insurance, law, public administration. So these are the areas in which the non-judicial member shall have an experience of minimum 25 years. And who is not eligible to be appointed as a non-judicial member? I told you that I told you that who are eligible to be appointed as the non-judicial member. People who have got impeccable integrity and outstanding ability along with 25 years of experience, in matters relating to anti-corruption policy, vigilance, public administration, finance, including banking and insurance, and law. So these are the areas in which a non-judicial member shall have a minimum of 25 years of experience, and along with that he should have impeccable integrity and outstanding ability, and he should not be a person who is less than 45 years of age, who is not eligible to be appointed as a non-judicial member. Any member of parliament means Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. A member of parliament is not eligible to be appointed as a non-judicial member. A member of legislative assembly or legislative council, a member of municipality or panchayat, and along with that, a member who is removed from the service of Government of India or the service of the state, he is also not eligible to be appointed as the non-judicial member. Any person who is convicted in an offence involving morality and who is engaged in any business and who is holding any office of profit, all these people, they are not eligible to be appointed as non-judicial member. And then, so these are the qualifications with respect to the chairperson of Lokpal, judicial member of Lokpal, and non-judicial member of Lokpal. Who will appoint the Lokpal chairperson and members of Lokpal? The president will appoint based on the recommendations of a selection committee. So who are there in the selection committee? The selection committee will consist of 5 persons. The Prime Minister will be the chairperson. So the selection committee will recommend the persons to be appointed as the chairperson and members of Lokpal. On the recommendations of the selection committee, the president will appoint. So who are there in the selection committee? The Prime Minister is the chairperson of the selection committee. And then the Speaker of the House of the People, he is member. Leader of opposition in the House of the People, he is also a member. Chief Justice of India or a judge of Supreme Court nominated by the Chief Justice. And these 4 people, Prime Minister, Speaker of Lok Sabha, Leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Chief Justice of India or a judge of Supreme Court, all these 4 people, they will nominate one eminent citizen. So altogether we have 5 people in the selection committee. Prime Minister is the chairperson. Then Speaker of Lok Sabha, Leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, Chief Justice of India or a judge of Supreme Court nominated by Chief Justice. Along with these 4 people, an eminent citizen or eminent jurist having legal expertise, legal knowledge. All these 5 people, they form the selection committee. So the selection committee will in turn appoint a search committee, because this selection committee will consist of people who are usually very busy, so they cannot do their job. So the selection committee will in turn appoint a search committee to search for the people to be appointed as the chairperson and members of Lokpal. So this search committee will consist of 7 people. 50% of them shall give representation to SC, ST, OBC, minority and women. See, here the Lokpal bill is very conscious of ensuring social inclusion. The so-called historically disadvantaged communities, they were given representation in the Lokpal. So the selection committee will constitute a search committee consisting of 7 people. These people should also have experience relating to anti-corruption policy, public administration, vigilance, banking and insurance that relates to finance and law, along with these public policy making. In all these areas who have got the expertise, those people will have the membership in the search committee, 7 people. So out of these 7 people, 50% shall give representation to SC, ST, OBC, minority and women. And then, see, here it is not necessary that the people identified by the search committee need not necessarily be appointed as the chairperson and members of Lokpal. The selection committee headed by chairperson, they can appoint people who are not recommended by search committee. Got the point? It is not mandatory or it is not compulsory to appoint the people identified by the search committee. The selection committee can appoint a person not recommended by search committee to become the chairperson or member of Lokpal. If this information comes in the prelims exam, you need to be careful. Then the another point is the people who get appointed as the chairperson and the members of Lokpal, they will have a tenure of 5 years or until they complete the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. So 3 months prior to arising of the vacancy, the procedure of appointment of chairperson or Lokpal shall be complete. Got the point? The appointment of a new chairperson or member of Lokpal shall be completed before 3 months before the vacancy arises. Before the vacancy arises. See, the salary allowances of the chairperson of Lokpal will be equivalent to Chief Justice of India. The salary and allowances of the members of Lokpal will be equivalent to the judges of Supreme Court. And here, after retaining as a chairperson or member of Lokpal, these people, they are ineligible to contest in the election for president, vice president, member of parliament, member of legislative assembly or legislative council, panchayat or municipality, and they are not eligible to be appointed as a diplomat. They cannot serve under any government of India or state government. And then they are also not eligible for reappointment. Why all these safeguards were built in? See, if I am the chairperson of the Lokpal or member of the Lokpal, if the government in power wants me to do some favor in return for myself another favor, because if they promise that the government in power says that you as the chairperson of Lokpal help the government in power, we will ensure that you will be the presidential candidate, you will be the candidate for the vice president, you will become the member of parliament, member of legislative assembly or panchayat or municipality, or we will appoint you as diplomat, or we will ensure you that you are reappointed. So to ensure these safeguards, that the people who work as chairperson or members of Lokpal, they are made ineligible, so that they will not have any incentive to work with any bias. They are not eligible to be appointed as the diplomat, they are not eligible for reappointment, they are not eligible to contest in the election of president, vice president, and they are not eligible to elect as member of parliament, member of legislative assembly or council, panchayat or municipality. And then assume that in a situation where the chairperson resigns or if he dies, what is the mechanism? What is the alternate mechanism before a new chairperson is appointed? The senior most member of the Lokpal will act as the temporary chairperson of Lokpal till a new chairperson will be appointed. And then if the chairperson of the Lokpal, if he is on leave, because he may be on tour in a foreign country, even in such a situation, the senior most member of the Lokpal will act as the temporary chairperson of the Lokpal. And then to provide assistance to the Lokpal, the institution of Lokpal, a secretary will be secretary of the rank of secretary to Government of India. A senior most IAS officer of the rank secretary to Government of India will become the secretary to the Lokpal. And the other officers who work for the Lokpal will be appointed by the chairperson of Lokpal, and the recommendations of the Union Public Service Commission. So this is with respect to the background of the Lokpal bill and the composition of the Lokpal.